searching for some light, battling shadows in the night. A mirror whispered silent praise. Today's the day I change my way.
Hi, my name is Lisa and I'm here in beautiful Palm Springs on the first day of January 2025. Unscripted, unfiltered. I'm just going to let you see all of my wrinkles in the light. I am a 60-year-old average suburban working person who started a YouTube channel recently because I lost about 60 pounds and was so excited to be able to shop again and buy clothes. I love clothes and I love shopping, but for decades I had been really limited in what I could wear. And a lot of you have come on my channel and asked me how I lost the weight. And because of that, and because my husband and I went on another YouTube channel called The Downsized and got interviewed about how we lost our weight and our weight loss journey. Those are the two reasons I'm making this video today. I apologize for the shakiness here. So let's get started. My starting weight was 193 pounds, and there's a little more of the story and I'll go into that. I currently weigh about 127 pounds. I feel like I may be a little light and I really need to work harder at putting some muscle back on. I had muscle loss during my weight loss journey, despite trying not to. And how I lost weight was doing compound GLP-1 injections. And if you have never heard of those, I hadn't either. But let me just go quickly into the details. So in January of 2023, on a day like this, at the beginning of the new year, after having a great dinner out and all that fun stuff, I got on the scale and I was almost pushing 200 pounds. After a lifetime of going up and down in weight loss struggles, I decided that was it. I understood how to lose weight and I was really gonna set my mind to it without a fad diet. So I calculated my base metabolic rate. I went on a healthy diet. I followed macros. I was exercising 10 hours a week. And I have some background of being kind of athletic and being involved in sports and things like that. So for me, that was doable. In January of 2023, I lost 1 pound. Same in February, same in March. So by March, I had lost 3 pounds. I figured this isn't right, something's wrong. I do have hypothyroidism. And I do see a doctor regularly, an endocrinologist. And aside from having just normal aches and pains for my age and injuries from sports, I don't have any metabolic issues. I knew that from the doctor. And I started to understand what metabolic syndrome was. And I firmly believe that was my issue. So by April of 2023, I'd given up. I tried not to gain the weight back. I think at that point I got down to maybe 186. So I may be off a pound or two here and there, you know, weight goes up or down, but I distinctly remember at the weight of 186 pounds in July, my husband shared with me that from some coworkers, he had learned about Mounjaro, also called tirzepatide, when it's in a compound form, and he had just started trying it. And he travels a lot for work, so he had picked it up, and then I think I was out of town and he started it, and then he went out of town and we were like two ships passing in the night. So a few weeks went by before he had the chance to tell me he was on it, and he had already lost some pretty good weight and he felt great. And he learned about it from some trusted friends who were getting it from a med spa. So I just decided to jump on the bandwagon. I was desperate. So I started it right away, and then immediately after that, I started doing the research, and then I had an appointment with my endocrinologist, you know, a few weeks after that, so I was able to check in with her shortly after starting it. By then, I knew it was working. And she was a little critical about how you're going to gain your weight back right away, just like every other diet. So even though she's an endocrinologist and she's treating people with diabetes and that sort of thing in her practice, at that time in September of 2023, she was critical about it. I already had lost, I think I lost like 10 pounds in my first month. Unfortunately, I didn't track it, but starting at 186, by the time I saw her in September, I think it was already down to the 160s. It was definitely showing on me, and she obviously could see it on my charts. So people started asking around that time, you look like you've lost weight. How have you lost weight? Based on her reaction and not knowing anything about it and feeling that it was a bit weird to be giving yourself shots to lose weight, I kept it to myself. I was nervous about telling anybody about it. Eventually, in October, a friend of mine named Kelly, she'd been asking, so I finally, and she had gained a lot of weight herself, so I finally confided in her, and her reaction was, isn't that cheating? By then, I had started reaching out on the internet, looking at people who were doing this, obviously reading up as much as I could on it and watching YouTube channels about it. And more people were getting on YouTube talking about their GLP-1 journey and the success they were having losing weight and the research that they had done about when it's covered by insurance and availability. And if you're doing the brand name, you kind of get a pen that injects you easily versus it being, that's usually what you get covered on insurance. Or if you're able to pay out of pocket like we did, and I'm telling you, it wasn't cheap, and we had to move budget around to be able to do this, then you would get the compounded version that you would have to inject yourself. Let me tell you, the first time giving myself a shot was really scary. The only thing that helped is my husband is medically trained from having been in the Army and classified as a medic, so that helped me a lot. Anyway, I digress. So my friend Kelly said, isn't that cheating? Fast forward to now, first of the year, January 2025. She's been doing it a while, and she's lost a significant amount of weight, and she looks great. So I really feel like people have kind of come forward to talk about it more and are not embarrassed by it, I guess, for lack of a better word. So my journey was a little bit tumultuous because I had to have sinuplasty in November of 2023. And, I'm seeing the doctors ahead of time, preparing to have surgery, pre-surgery appointments. And I kept asking them, should I still be doing the shot? Because I'm not going to go into a lot of details about how it works. That's not really the nature of my channel. But it does slow gastric emptying. And I saw somebody on the internet say, hey, I'm afraid to go into surgery and need painkillers knowing that they might not digest into my system more quickly. Now, again, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, but that worried me too. So I asked my doctors about it, and they're like, nah, you should be okay. Nevertheless, I stopped taking the shots 6 weeks before my surgery, so at the beginning of October of 2023. So I had the opportunity to understand what it feels like to go off the shots. I have heard from another scientist on another YouTube channel that they do build up in your system a little bit, and so from that, I assume that they also take a while to get out of your system. I didn't gain any weight during the 6 weeks. I had, already was walking 10,000 steps a day as a form of easing back into exercise. I was eating better, trying to focus on protein. So that was really encouraging. So after the surgery, I went back on the shots and continued to lose weight. And towards the middle of December, and I live in the United States, my mom in Canada ended up in the hospital, and it looked like she had a severe beginning of dementia. And I had to run up there and get her out of the hospital and get her into assisted living. And I was just nervous to try to bring the shots over the border again. It was just such a stressful time. I just didn't prioritize doing the research to see if I could take the shots. I just, having had been off them before, I figured, oh, I can go off them for a short time if I need to, if I run out, if I'm out up there more than a week. I should have known I was going to be up there way more than a week in Canada helping my mom out. So that was the second time I was off the shots. At the time I went to Canada in mid-December, I was 138 pounds. 141, 138 pounds. And when I got back to the States in January, I was still 138 pounds. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. And I was traveling. I was staying in a hotel partially. I was staying in her old apartment. I didn't have access to all the healthy eating. I had a few slip ups. I had a night where I was just sitting in her empty apartment crying and eating cookies. So I would say if you're starting this journey and if you have one slip up, don't panic. That's all I'm going to say. So in January, I went on a plateau. And if you are familiar with these, they start you off on a dose of what they call 2.5. I was on 2.5 the whole time. I was what they call a super responder. So I just reacted to it much more intensely than your average person. So I didn't have to dose up to the next dose, which is 5. And from that time I started, July of 2023 through January of 2024, my only symptoms were nausea, and not severe enough. I would call it nausea light. I'd just be sitting there at work and I'd be like, gosh, my stomach just feels icky, but I'm not hungry anyway. So there you are. January of 2024, I get back from Canada. I hadn't been eating well. I was nervous I was going to start gaining weight, but I stuck with it on my 2.5 and I hit a plateau. And that may have been what was going on in Canada as well. I hit a plateau, so I decided to go up to 5. By then, I didn't have much nausea anymore, and I started losing weight again. But I did start experiencing problems sleeping. Now, my age, postmenopausal, sleeping can be kind of an issue anyway. So I think that was just the last layer for me, and it's still something that I struggle with. Then the weight loss started happening again. I would say, looking back, and I've gone in and like retroactively written down all my numbers and the times and the things that I remember. I would say I lost on average 1.5 to 2 pounds a week. So that is actually not unhealthy. And by the time I hit April, I was down to 128 pounds. So now that's kind of where I've stayed, April 2023 to December, and now January 2025. So that's my story. And if you're new to this channel, thank you for joining. If you are on your GLP-1 or any kind of weight loss journey, and you have a significant amount of weight to lose, and let me do my math here. I'll put it up in the corner. Like I always say, I lost 50 or 60 pounds. I mean, gosh, after 40, I was just so happy. I mean, I just stopped keeping track. I really only thought I was going to get down to the golden weight of 135. And honestly, I should probably be more up around 130 and have more muscle mass. And with exercising, that's a whole other long story with life and busyness and time to go to the gym. And I rely on a lot of yard work for my exercise. My husband and I have a fairly large yard that requires a lot of maintenance. Anyway, I digress. So if you want to learn more about GLP-1, I really encourage you to talk to your doctor and do your research, or GLP-1s, or Ozempic, or Trizipatide, or Mounjaro. Really recommend that you talk to your physician. And in the meantime, if you just want to see what people are saying about it and get ongoing news updates, I really recommend that you go to a YouTube channel called The Downsized. And that's Christopher and Lorraine Durham, who post very regularly about it and who have also been through that journey. So if you're new to my channel, please come back if you're interested in hearing more information about how to prepare for weight loss, specifically in terms of budgeting for a new wardrobe. But for me, that's the most fun part, and I hope it's the most fun part for many people. If you like to shop and you are just starting to get into a new size and you're being able to wear things you've never worn before, that is super fun and exciting. If you're already a regular on my channel, thank you so much for listening to this whole thing. I plan to make a video about how I budgeted to buy a lot of clothes all of a sudden. I didn't buy clothes throughout the weight loss journey. I waited to the end. I was worried about maintenance. I was still worried about it. Even though I knew that this solution for weight loss felt like it was the real permanent one that was going to have a permanent effect on my life. So again, thank you for watching. Have a great 2025.
It's never too late to hit your goal. When you meet the new you'll see potential. potential you haven't realized. You'll love being your new size.